Hi, I'm Marcus Butler and you're watching YouTuber News.
Thanks, Marcus. There's a ton of Dodie Clark news. Bin Laden had a famous YouTube video on his computer, and you'll never guess which one. Hello World has been called a shambles by fans, and of course it's the return of Dan Howatch. All this, plus I've been told the ending to the new Star Wars film, but don't worry, I won't spoil it, they all die. On this week's edition of YouTuber News, they all die. The video news service from WeTheUnicorns.com. Absolute massacre. Our first story, the month of November belongs to Dodie Clark. She's got a brand new book out now called Secrets for the Mad, plus she's got a pop-up shop at the Creator Store at the YouTube Space in King's Cross in London. I've already gone along and got all kinds of Dodie merch. I got a t-shirt with Dodie's face, I got a Dodie brand wrench, I got the Dodie 2018 calendar, the theme of which is Adrian Dodie, which is where they've taken pictures of actor Adrian Brody and just photoshopped Dodie over him. Very specific, I'm not quite sure why they did that. For more information on Dodie's book and her pop-up shop, you need to head to, you guessed it, We Are the Unicorns. What is it? We Are Unicorns? We the Unicorns. WeTheUnicorns.com. Has always been that. It's always been We the Unicorns. Right, okay. And we're banking, right? We're a banking website? We're not banking. We're not banking. Oh, I need to make a lot of phone calls. Oh no. Our second story, the CIA has released details of the files that were stored on Bin Laden's computer when he was hiding out in his compound in Pakistan. There were all kinds of strange things in his hard drive, including a video of Mr. Bean and a lot of Tom and Jerry cartoons. This isn't a joke, this is all 100% real. But among all those video files, there was also one noticeable file by the name of Charlie Bit Me. Yes, for reasons that no one really understands, this very famous terrorist had his own personal copy of Charlie Bit Me. The compound he was in didn't have internet access, which means that someone at some point will have had to have downloaded that video, put it on a file, and given it to him. I suppose in a way it demonstrates just how viral that video really is. But can't really see Charlie and the gang being too happy about this news. I double checked with the CIA and they said there were no copies of YouTuber News on his hard drive, which is really good because he was a bad guy. You know. At the same time, it's like, what, you're too good for YouTuber News? Our third story, Hello World, the ambitious, immersive live show that was put on by some of the UK's biggest YouTubers, but also featured international talent like Tyler Oakley, took place in Birmingham this October. However, it was not met with the kind of reception that we think the YouTubers expected. Soon after the event began, attendees started taking to Twitter to complain, saying that there was terrible queuing, that none of them were meeting the YouTubers they wanted to meet, saying that there was not enough to do, that promised features like the carnival rides never appeared. There are definitely some people who seem to have had a really good time and were posting about that on social media, but a lot of people seem to have been very down on the event. So what exactly went wrong here? Well, a lot of the YouTubers involved keep repeating that it was not meant to be a meet and greet. You'll see this on Twitter a lot, they're saying it wasn't meant to be a meet and greet. Fair enough. Except if you bought the VIP ticket, which was £99, which if you're not from the UK, £99 is actually a lot of pounds. Part of the VIP ticket was the promise that you would be met by a YouTuber and given a tour of the event, and then afterwards you'd be able to get a picture with them, which kind of sounds like you'd be greeted by a YouTuber and then would be meted by a YouTuber. I mean, if that's not a meet and greet, some people had a great time, some people not so much. But were you at the event? That's what we want to know. Were you at the event? If you were, please leave a comment down below. Let us know what it was like. Maybe you loved it. Maybe it was great. Maybe people are exaggerating. We were at the event. I was at the event. But we didn't really get to experience the event itself because we were doing press stuff. So we'll leave that up to you. You are the judge. Oh, set me free. See, people call me an old fogey, but that was actually a 20 Pilots reference, which is 20 Pilots are a very popular band with the youth of today. Yes, I believe they're a K-pop band. Well, those are our three main stories, and you know what that means. It's time for Dan Howatch. Now, this was supposed to be a very special Dan Howatch this week. We were going to do a phone-in episode where you guys could phone in, but we kind of had a bit of a disaster because we put Dua Lipa in charge of the phones, and well, let's just say she's been very unhelpful. So instead, it's a normal episode of Dan Howatch, where we're going to finish off that cheeky cliffhanger from last week. It's time for Dan Howatch. Welcome to Dan How Watch, I'm John Barrowman. Last week on Dan How Watch we told you the horrific story of Dan opening a copy of Truth Bombs only to find hundreds of bats inside which flew out and then picked him up by the shirt and flew away with him. The story unfortunately ended there on a bit of a cliffhanger, but we've done some research and we now know what happened to Dan. He flew into the air, carried by the bats. There was a danger at one point that they might drop him. And then they did. They did drop him, unfortunately, and he did fall. But there was a local trampoline festival happening nearby. Unfortunately, Dan completely missed that trampoline festival, but he did land on the nearby Duvet Festival, which broke his fall and stopped him from dying to death. Dan is now fine, but you know what? He's going to be a little bit more careful when he opens another box of Truth Bombs in future, in case there might be thousands of bats inside. And for legal reasons, we are not stating that those Truth Bomb boxes are filled with bats. This is a humorous show. Dan, Phil, you've sued me so many times. Please stop suing me. It's just a joke. There's not actually bats inside. But there are actually bats inside. This has been Dan How Watch. Look, all I want is for the fans to be able to ring in and ask questions. It's not your ex-boyfriend, okay? It's not some bad guy. It'll be a fan. So pick up the phone. I don't care if you've got a rule about it, doer. Pick up the phone. He's not drunk. And we don't know if he's alone. Just pick up the phone. Why did we hire her? The sound of that smooth jazz reminds me that it's time for our question of the week. Last week I asked you a question of the week, and a whole bunch of you answered. I want to thank you so much for answering every week. You guys are so good at that, and I want to thank you for being part of the YouTuber News Global Conglomerate. That's the name of this fandom. YNGC, baby. Put a red diamond in your Twitter name. I love you forever. But there was only one person who answered last week's question of the week correctly, and that was someone by the name, I've lost it now, there it is, of Meggie Mooster. And they said the answer is Boo Nadict Townsend, which I enjoyed because last week was all Halloween themed, and Boo Nadict kind of reminds me a bit of a ghost. Okay, it's time for this week's question of the week. Listen up very carefully, this one's a little bit trickier than normal. If I have one cup and you have another cup, and we add those cups together, how many cups do we then have So get your answers in for that one, and I'll read the correct one out next week, if anyone manages to work it out, that is. Stop looking at me, doer, and get back to work. I'm Benedict Townsend. This is YouTuber News, which airs every Friday on the We the Unicorns YouTube channel Facebook page, and I also burn it onto a DVD and toss it into the ocean. Give the dolphins something to watch for once. Don't forget that the best way to get YouTuber News is to hit subscribe. It's down here, I think. Hit subscribe, and you'll get YouTuber News delivered straight to you every Friday when it comes out. And that way you can get in with those first comments. I always end up liking and responding to the first couple of comments, and you're more likely to try and be the first person to correctly answer the question of the week. I'm off now to have my weekend, and I should hope that you do the same. Dewar, do you want to say anything to carry us out? Anything at all? Want to sing one of your songs, maybe? The one about blowing your mind? You don't want to? You know what? If we weren't married, and that is canon, if we weren't married, I'd be really mad at you right now. Have a great week, guys. I'll see you next week.